Ah. Oof. Ah.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Cupcakes and Coffee Conversations. I have a little bit of the background, so you better bear with me today.
No, it's all good.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Hey,
What's happening?
what's happening? Well, everyone, I'm so glad that you are here with me on today. I hope you have your coffee ready. I hope you have your cupcake. My cupcake of the day is strawberry. What y'all got? What y'all got?
I got coffee. No.
How they gonna be without coffee and cupcakes?
Right.
I'm glad they're here. But as you guys have seen, we are going to talk about the universal subject, which is love today. And we have this beautiful, beautiful couple that is going to not only encourage us, but teach us. And I think it's going to be a purposeful show today. So make sure you guys take a look at the number that's going across the screen. You guys can call with any type of questions that you have. And we're going to go ahead and get started. So what we have here, I'm going to give you guys some background, okay? This young man that's here is, I met him through my industry, one of my properties, and he was the worst resident ever, okay?
No, I pay my bills on time.
No, actually, he was actually like a man, okay? Everybody knew Aaron. Aaron was running the streets over there, But we ended up building a friendship, a bond, brother, sisterhood, and here we are today. And then I had the pleasure of meeting this beautiful young lady, which is right next to him, which is Michelle. Actually, this is our first time seeing each other face to face.
That's
Right. So we've been, hey, yay, all that good stuff on social media. But this is great just to be so, we'll after this Rona is over, we'll be able to get each other face really soon. So
you got to invite to the
Yes, listen, yeah. But I am excited. When I say excited, I'm excited to have both of you here. And just for, formal sake, this is no Formula 22. This is Aaron and Michelle. Yes.
Yeah,
So let's get this started. I just want you guys to just kind of tell us who you are individually. And then we can come together on your story, throughout the show. But just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Ladies first.
Yeah. Again, Michelle, originally from Florida, been in Atlanta since about 2008. Business background, I am an HR manager. Social butterfly, I love to be out and about, meeting new people and engage. Will you stop? I love people. Okay. So engaging, meeting new people, trying new things, those types of things. Graduated from Florida A&M University.
Woo-hoo!
Yes, and holds a special place in my heart. FAMU raised me, got me to where I am right now, and I am a lover of love. I love everything about love, and I'm so happy to be able to be here to speak on that.
I'm the other half of No Formula 22. Aaron Paxton Arnold, from the South Side of Chicago. I also went to Florida A&M University, where I met her. While I studied journalism and minored in marketing and business while I was there. Also, just obviously being holy and wholesome while I was in college.
We all can laugh at that.
Also, a member of Omega Psi Phi fraternity, Spring '98, Upsilon Psi chapter of FAMU, Wholesome Qs. And I have a radio media background, so I was on the morning show on Kiss 104 for a while. I've spoken everywhere from Harvard to USC, and like her, I'm a lover of love. My parents have been married for 49 years, and so that's what I'm used to. That's what I grew up around, and I'm just thankful to be here. 2020 has been crazy in a lot of ways, and for us to be here together is, in my opinion, nothing short of a miracle, especially as far as how long we've known each other and the journey that we've taken. So it's just it's good to be here, and hopefully we get to inspire and educate and entertain you guys today, and everybody walks away with something, and we walk away with something as well. And we here. Happy birthday tomorrow! Shout out Scorpios.
I just celebrated a Scorpio this morning. All these Scorpios everywhere. Good Lord.
Yes.
A happy early birthday, sir.
Thank you. Sober for the time being.
Good. That's the best way.
Yeah. Right.
Well, let's go ahead and just start touching on a few things. And as we stated earlier, the big thing that we're going to talk about is love today. Okay, our journey, your journey through love. How you guys there, and I don't want to tell it. I want you guys to just paint us a picture, start it off, so that we can go into this, place that I can't wait to get to. But I'm trying not to say anything because I want you to, that's what you're here for.
You know everything already.
So tell us. I know you guys touched on with your introduction on how you met, which was FAMU. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I met her actually 22 years ago in October. At FAM, the School of Business and Industry, they always had these forums every Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I always had this thing where if I saw a girl that I was interested in, I would wait to the third time to approach them, and I kind of stalked her, so I knew when she was coming out of class or forum,
waiting.
I knew the direction she took based off the first two times that I saw her, and I just kind of did my thing and got her number, and it kind of just went from there. And it's funny because I actually had a girlfriend at the time, but my 21st birthday was spent with her, and it was probably the most memorable moments I've had in college. And so, one of the things that I've learned in life is quality over quantity is far more greater. And so that's kind of how our relationship has been, for the last 22 years, off and on. And we went through life, graduated, and to be fully transparent, I was in those streets in college, and so she was like, I'm gonna give you some space, and so then we kind of went apart, and God would just always bring us back together, and every time we kind of came back together, I was still into some, or at one point when she was married, I was married, but every time she's needed me, I've been there. Every time I've needed her, she without a doubt has been there, and I can honestly say that no one has ever. It's one thing for somebody to say I love you, but then how they love you is completely different. And no one, she's been my best friend for this long, and she knows me. She knows the worst of me, which is not a lie because I'm wholesome. But
but that's relative.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
She knows the worst of me, and vice versa. And Deetra, as you know, even when I was in the pad, I was running the streets a little bit, and when God brought her back into my life, everything just changed right away. And I just knew what I had to do, because I feel like, especially the older we get, I turn 43 tomorrow. And so you don't get too many chances at genuine, true love. And, been married twice, been divorced twice. First time was definitely not ready. Neither one of us were. Second time, just for other reasons beyond my control, didn't work out. And I had kind of given up on love.
Right, which is Michelle. Actually, this is our first time. Sorry, I don't know what that. Raheem, did you hear? Okay, there we go. Sorry. Little technical difficulties.
You're official. I gotta see the cupcake and coffee conversation scrolling. I'm like, ooh, somebody got some money.
Concentrate. Go back. Go ahead.
Yeah, you grow up and you mature, and so when you're going through the journey and the heartbreak that I faced and she's faced, not just in relationships and life, when you're going through that process, it really sucks. But when you come out on the other end, you really see that if you don't go through that, then you're not prepared for what ultimately your journey is. And so I'm happy. You know, Deidre, you and I talk about this all the time. I'm happy. Like it's a different kind of happiness. And you know, and so we're here. And so we created no formula, and she'll tell her side of the story. But
yeah, that's what I wanted to get into, because we all have our own stories, you know, where the guy be like, oh, it was like this, but then the girl has something totally different.
It's irrelevant. Yeah. I mean, some of the story is the same about how we met and the stalking aspect.
I didn't stalk anybody.
And taking him out for his birthday, and he mentioned how he had a girlfriend I knew nothing about. So let's get it clear.
College.
I knew it was more.
Yeah.
I didn't have time to tell you.
Oh, okay. Anyway, and then he graduated before I did, and we moved on, right? And we were in New York at the same time, didn't know it. That would have been an awesome thing to kind of bump into each other. But I think, as Aaron alluded to, the first marriages, the second, life just happens, but we were always brought back together at those pivotal moments. And that is what is so meaningful. So I look at our past as something that's prepared us for us now and moving in the future. So we can look and say, oh, this is what I don't want. I don't want to deal with this anymore. Be very, very clear and very intentional. I like to be intentional about what we do and have purpose behind that. And the love that we have is what's driving us to move forward.
Oh, love it. I think we had a caller. Do we still have the caller, Raheem? Caller, are you there?
He said yes. This is fancy. Wow.
Caller, are you there?
What about us?
Caller, you can go ahead and ask a question or make a comment if you're there. Okay. Well, maybe they're just listening in.
Okay.
But okay. So just to go back, now that we kind of have the, just have the basics, how everything started. Let's go in kind of, the directions of you guys. You also mentioned that you both had marriages at the time, but you were able to come back to each other. So kind of give us some, I know that when you left from fam and whatever your differences were at that time and you guys went away, then you came back. You guys came back after the first one as well?
Yeah, I mean, we were teetering at the end of both of our first ones, and again, and we have spirited debates about this all the time, because I've loved her since college. We've loved each other since college. But Michelle is she's like you. She's a very strong woman, independent woman, and I just never knew that she loved me the way she loved me. So when we came back, maybe for the potential first opportunity after college, I just didn't know that she cared about me like that, and so I was still it. I went back to
busy doing other things.
I went back to being in those streets. And
wait a minute, Aaron. Let's stop right there, because I want to touch on that. Okay, it's kind of a problem with guys. I'm trying to figure this out in my own life, and y'all gonna have to counsel me today. Act like I'm on the couch with the light out, and y'all are in couch. So with guys and them saying what you just said, I didn't know that she really liked. What do you mean you didn't know? How did you not know that she didn't like you?
And we spent like 3 to 4 times together a week, hanging out and talking and all kinds. Yeah, but he didn't know anything, so he said.
I didn't.
I just explain it for all the guys that in the world, because we don't understand that.
I mean, I'm a communicator. I'm very transparent. That's what I do for a living. And so I guess I just didn't pick up on the signals that she cared about me and loved me the way she did. And she didn't just say it. I'm like, why you ain't just tell me? She's like, you should have known through her actions. And at the time, I probably was not mature enough to understand, like, at the end of the day, this is like, I'm not trying to disrespect my past relationships, but it wasn't the kind of love that she's given me, has always given me, was different. And so I wasn't mature enough to understand, like, oh, wow, that's actually real, genuine love. That is love that is founded from a friendship first, et cetera, et cetera. So I just didn't get it. And
Mhm.
you know, I went back to being in those streets again.
He
And
was busy,
I was busy,
and I didn't want to be wrapped up in the busyness.
yeah. And it came to a
I
part,
wasn't serious.
you know, where you know I ended up, I guess, hurting her, and I didn't know. And I remember seeing her face, and this is 2008 or 9. I remember seeing her face. It's just kind of just disappointment in me, you know, kind of like, you know, disappointment, and it hurt. And I tried to repair it, and she was just like, nah. So all right, we went our separate ways again, you know, and we ended yet another life, another relationship on her end and my end, and you know, it just kind of went on from there. And you know, she could tell you the rest, but it's just hard. It was just hard to figure out, you know. I told her right away that I loved her, you know. I didn't. How am I supposed to not? No, you got to communicate. You got to talk.
He was at a nice high in his career, and he was enjoying the life.
Yeah.
Looking for anything I was trying to give him, and I knew that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it was
say that again. Let's say that one more time. Say that last part, because I need women to hear that. Say it again.
So he was living the life, and he was not ready for what I was trying to give him.
Thank you.
That was evident. So I was not going to put myself in a situation to be hurt or damaged by all the nonsense and the busyness that was going on at that time. So I let.
I can end the show right there. I really could. But I'm not gonna do it because we got 30 more minutes. But
I always tell her though, if I had known, maybe I would have curtailed my activity.
Maybe curtail,
not
know. Stop. Maybe curtail.
No, I mean,
I couldn't take that chance because it was so much that he was just involved in a lot of stuff, and he was, and career wise and everything, he had a lot going on, and I just didn't want to take that chance with myself.
And she was right. I mean, I was very cocky at that time. I mean, everything was hitting on all cylinders work wise, and I pride myself on humility because that's what my dad has always instilled in me. But I don't know how much humility I had during that time. And God has a really interesting way of always humbling you. And in my situation with her, it was just seeing her disappointed. Like, you know, everything I have been to you, everything we've been to each other, and you know, go off and do the things that you do and not continue to nurture this. It was like, all right. And I tried, and I fought for her after I realized how she felt, but she was, player. And then, so, all right.
It was that big of a deal to me. It was.
Yeah.
So like,
yeah. And so, you know,
it's a big deal to a lot of women, you know, especially when you're giving something that's so golden. You understand? Like, this is not just any type of love. You're giving something that is like life changing, and you know it because you know who you are, you know your worth, and you know what you can be for your mate. So with her saying that, that's why I said I can really end the show right now because that's a big thing that men have to see and understand. Now, everybody has different perceptions of love and how they view love, you know? So at that time, love to you may have been a thought, you know, that's running high. That's like, you know, she's dropping it low for you. She doing
the attention. He was, I mean, there was a lot of things going on. I mean, we were young, but it was a lot of things going on, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what he chose. That was his path at that time. And I didn't want to get caught up in, because I knew that it was not going to pan out well for me.
Right. And then as we progress along and then we go and we mature, you know, we have relationships that teach us things. Then you're able to think back to, ooh, Michelle did. Ooh, let me go get her. But guess what? She was gone.
I mean, well, you know, we both ended up in a situation where we both ended up, you know, getting married again. And, you know, I was, it's weird because I was talking to my mom this past week, and I know you and I have talked about this. And, you know, I truly believe I was madly in love with my second wife. And the reason why I say that, because since she and I have been back, in a way, the feeling and the love that I have for her and the friendship that I have for her, I realized I never had that ever before. And so you start to question yourself, like, have I ever really loved anybody else before? And so I think the answer is twofold. I think obviously it's part of growth and maturity. I knowing how to accept love, knowing how to give love.
Mhm.
And then the other part is, I mean, she's just always been my standard, good or bad. I've always compared every woman that's come into my life to her, and so that's why I'm like, man, you know, to have
As you should. Sorry, go ahead.
and you know, and my mom always called. My mom says, you know, I'm, you know, I don't understand women because, like, you know, if a woman asks, you know, you have those questions like, who's your guy or who's your crush or who, you know, and my answer was always her. So she has enemies out there because I was always honest. Like, well, you know, Michelle, I don't have a celebrity crush. Like the person I, you know, what standard has always been her. You know, it just so happened that she's actually like here close and in proximity, and when we went to school together, and, you know, so it just there are probably like two or three women that hate her, but that's what you get for telling the truth.
So, well, let me ask you another question just to go along with that, and with you guys going to different relationships and, you know, still having this, you know, like burning love for each other, but it had to be silent. Okay, do you guys feel as if you settled?
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, that's a hard question to answer. I think for my second marriage, at that time, that was a good situation. I mean, he's deceased now, but, you know, he was a good person. He was good to me. You know, good to our children, and it was a good situation. So I can't say that I settled in that. We have what we strive for, of course, but then we have other things that are other opportunities that are good too.
Yes. Yes.
You know, and you appreciate the good in those opportunities, even though it may not be the main goal, may not be the focus, may not be the burning desire, but that doesn't mean it wasn't good. It's definitely good at that time.
Yeah, I mean, even for her situation, like Napoleon, who she was married to, second marriage, who passed. Like, I remember when I met Napoleon, I remember I felt completely bad. Matter of fact, I remember deleting her number, and I kept Napoleon's number. He and I communicated, and it was because, I mean, I never thought anybody else was good for her. No one, I felt like nobody would love her the way I knew I could love her if I had been mature enough. And when I met Napoleon, I felt like he was worthy. So I built a good relationship, and I felt bad. Like, I didn't talk to her for a year or two until I found out that Napoleon was in the hospital, and I went to see Napoleon, and, you know, unfortunately he passed. And so then all of a sudden we were back in each other's lives, because now I've always been protective of her, and she's always been protective of me. And so it was just, I don't know. I you know, I can't. It's interesting because you never question God when things are good, and so you can't question God when things are bad.
Absolutely.
Or challenging. And so, you know, my priority at that point was just to make sure she was safe and I could be there for her. You know, full transparency, you know, I realized in that moment that I was actually in love with her. And so it was like a really weird situation to be in. I was still married at the time. I was in the process of getting married. And so it was just one of those situations where here's a situation, I want to be there for her. This is my best friend. I can't, you know, so we went our separate ways again. And on my end, you know, even though my second marriage didn't work out, even though, as you know, my divorce was really nasty and it didn't need to be, in my opinion, I'm not the person I am now if I don't have that. And I had an opportunity to grow. You know, like the first half was really good, so I had an opportunity to grow. Settle, yeah, I mean, absolutely settle, because at the end of the day, I was like, I knew I couldn't have her. And so this was the next best thing, which was dope. It's like, all right, you know what? I want that top of the line Toyota, but the Lexus is the same company, but the Lexus is still better. But I take the Toyota. They got the same amenities, it's just not the same brand. And I, you know, I'm not trying to say my ex-wife is a Toyota, but you know,
we could have picked a different car.
But
a different car.
And maybe, you know, maybe she set over me. Like she and I had this joke where she was like, I prayed for somebody, a man that was 6'5", and I would always tell her, well, God got it wrong, I'm 5'6". you know, so maybe she wanted somebody else too. I don't know. But you know, you go through that and that's why I said, like, you know, for us, it's just been like, that's why we created No Formula, because when she had come out of a relationship, so she could talk about it, but like I said, I've always been very protective of her. And I felt like the relationships that she had post Napoleon passing did not celebrate her. And they celebrated her for what she was, what she looked like, all that stuff. But the men did not celebrate her for who she was. And so I just got tired of it. I got tired of, you know, hearing her going through what she's going through. And it was like, nah. So when I put that post out, and I had written it like 3 or 4 months before I posted it on August 8th, it was like, I needed her, you know, because, you know, she's going through therapy, and, you know, she's been my therapist, and I just needed her to know how really dope she was as a human being. I mean, she's phenomenal mother, you know, active in AKA, Jack and Jill, her work, everything. And I felt like none of these Negroes were looking at it like that. And so, Deisha, as you know, you could be the most confident person in the world, but after a while, if people keep telling you this, you start to believe it, regardless of how inaccurate it is. And so I put that post out just to celebrate her. Like, look, I want people to know, like, this has been my best friend, her story, her journey. She's the most phenomenal human being that I know. And the response that we got was just crazy. Like, on my page alone and her page, we got DMs and people asking us for advice and so forth. And a week later, we created No Formula 22 because, I mean, our journey together and individually has been so unorthodox. Like, it's, in my opinion, nothing but God taking us on this journey to get us to this point. Right. And that's not to say that, like, you know, we don't have issues. We still have issues that every couple has. Communication, like, honestly, she was almost late for the interview. I tried to.
He's not telling the truth and no white lies. I'm the timekeeper, not this. He was running late.
I was running late, and she told me I wasn't really listening, comprehending. You know, but
and I believe that because I got a text when I sent the link saying 1 p.m. I said, "Sir, 12."
Right.
So,
yeah. This wasn't even my outfit plan, but we made it.
But let's touch on your friendship, because I know personally, just going through relationships, that is very important to form a friendship first. And a bond first before just jumping in. I have jumped into relationships just bloop, you know, like, oh, I like you too. And then, you know, boom, we're in a relationship, right? Versus, you know, building what you guys have. And it's and what you have built is just like so like this to where nothing can like shake it, you know. Yes, you've had your up and downs. Yes, you've had different relationships, all sorts of things, but because of that friendship that you built, you were still able to do this for one another, no matter what. So talk to me about the importance of having a friendship in your relationship.
Well, I think the analogy as you gave, and I've said this, Aaron, before too, we're like magnets. How far we're separated because of whatever may happen, we get right back together. And we get back together like no time has been lost. Right? And we can chill and joke and laugh and kick it, talk about whatever, and feel comfortable in that space.
With no judgment. And we have a place where
we could sit and be in silence, and that's cool too. Right? But we're playful and we're loving, and, you know, we have a good time. And that's important. We're a lot alike. He's the male version of me, ×2 maybe, with his friendliness, right? And his outgoingness. And I'm the female version of him. We say that all the time, right? It's like we're twins. And we really have a good, solid friendship. I do believe that. And that has stemmed from 1998. And like I said, we'll gravitate back towards each other like we saw each other yesterday.
And you can see it. If everyone that's listening, you guys go to their page, which is No Formula 22, you can actually see it. You know, it's really hard to decipher on, you know, the book and Instagram what's what. Everybody's shouting black love, and honey, it ain't really black love. But you can feel and you can see. Even now, just me looking at you guys, I can see it and I can feel it, you know? And it's a difference. And on your page, with you guys just kicking it, you know, you doing his hair, you know, you guys just out in the streets, honey, doing your thing, looking good. You can see it, and it's not just, you know, oh, let me put some up for the gram. You understand?
I mean, I remember you and I speaking a couple months ago, and you know, and you were like, you know, the reason why this is the way it is because it's seated in service. And we talked about like the one thing that I never had in any relationship or marriage and vice versa. I just didn't know. We never put God first. And so like we came into the situations just like this year, still 2020, when she came back into my life again, it was like, okay, what can I do to help rebuild you in lieu of everything that she's gone through? And a lot of it is documented on our page and her page and my page, but just even from a past relationship, like what can I do to support you? So my whole mantra this year was like, it's all about her. I was like, don't worry about me. We even had this conversation last night because I was like, we need to get back on track as far as focusing on you. I was like, don't worry about me. I'm gonna be as long as she's okay, I'm gonna be okay. And so like she used the word earlier, and we've talked about it, is being intentional. And so Pastor Michael Thomas of what's the church?
Todd, Transformation Church.
Michael Todd, yes. I'm thinking about the football player. But he talked about being intentional. So I've never been intentional really in any relationships. Kind of like, to your point, I love you, you love me. Let's just rock with it and see how it flows. Everything that we do is intentional, and it's transferred over into even my career and everything I'm doing professionally. It's just very intentional. So now we're not wasting time because like we're starting to get on the other side.
You have the time.
Yeah, you start to get on the other side of life. Like, you know, you start to realize that time is definitely not guaranteed. And so every day, every hour, every week, every month, every year is important. So what are the intentional actions that you're taking? And it's dope. It's good. You know, I just really thank God that like my parents have been married 49 years. It hasn't always been perfect, but the foundation for them has always been their friendship. So I'll be honest, my first marriage, I wasn't a good husband. I didn't try to be. Like we were both really young, and you know, she was doing her thing professionally, vice versa, whatever. Second one, I worked really hard, but you know, my ex wasn't, you know, in her words, she wasn't built for marriage, and there were certain things that I wasn't mature enough to handle or do. So, you know, I take responsibility in that as well. And so I just remember like, man, I'm gonna be 50 and probably just have a couple like young chicks that I don't care about, probably get somebody pregnant by accident in my life. I mean, you and I would talk about it. Like,
I know.
Yeah, this is gonna be my life. And, you know, but in my heart, I was like, man, I would love to have another chance at real love and be able to do what my dad does for my mom every day. My dad celebrates and protects my mom every single day. I've seen it, I hear it. It's been amazing to watch. And I didn't know if I was going to get an opportunity because, like you said, after the second one, I wasn't settling for anything. And, you know, you met a couple. I've had some like good women, but they were not for me long term. And I always say like we are sometimes in relationships where they're kind of like seat fillers. Like you don't on the holidays, whatever. You don't. Cool. But at the end of the day, like, look, I'm telling you, I'm not trying to marry you. I'm not trying to do nothing, but just enjoy your time. And I was very transparent during that time frame. And I just thought that I was just going to be in relationships like that forever. And that's why, like I said, when she popped back in my life, it was like, all right, well, first, what do you need? What can I do to support you? And then,
it was instant. It was instant. Okay. And I had never, Michelle, I'm not putting on for the show, okay? But I'm gonna tell you the truth. I had never seen him like snap back like that so quickly. When you came in, girl, he went whoop, straight line. I said, who is that? Where you come from? But it just proves that, you know, what you were saying earlier about, you know, you weren't willing to settle again. okay, if I'm gonna do it, it's gonna be this way. But when it comes, I don't know when it comes, and then and that's exactly what you did. So all of this along the way, through the years and us learning and us, going in and out of relationships or whatever it may be, growing is the point for us to get to this, at some point. There should be a level of growth to where you can say, okay, yeah, when I saw this or I attracted this because I was this on the inside. Right. But now that I've grown and I've moved toward that, now I can navigate and attract something better or attract something that's, that attracts my soul of who I am.
Right.
So, that's the ultimate goal. You live life. That's great. Live it. Do what you're going to do. Right. But grow within that so that you can experience this, because especially here in Atlanta, everybody want to be in love. Everybody, and they're like, there ain't no good man. You a lie. It's plenty, It's just a matter of you, connecting to who's your good man.
Right.
I think what people fail to realize too is the healing process that you go through, right? And there's been times in my past where I didn't go through the healing process. Oh, I'm done with you. Okay, here's the next boyfriend, and here's the next boyfriend. But you have to sit with yourself and say, okay, this is what has damaged me. I need to figure out how to heal from that, because we all hear about bringing the baggage, and we all do, right? So to your point of growing, you have to heal too, so you can get that growth piece. And sometimes that healing is ugly.
Yes.
Okay, you have to say, this is what I did wrong in it, because it's always both people for the most part, and you got to face it. And this is what I don't want to be again. This is what I don't want to do again. What I don't want to experience again. So to your point, it can attract who I need to attract. I need to attract my person, but I need to be a little bit more whole. I'm not sure we're ever whole completely because of life, but we can be in better positions the next time we meet someone. And in that position, I can say, oh, easily identify this person is not for me. This is what I don't want, because I am more whole and I've healed what had hurt me before. Right. So at this age, it's like age and experience, you can identify what's going to work. So you're not wasting time. Right? We get instant gratification, which sometimes damages it even worse. And we get to the healing, get to the growth, and we can be better for ourselves and better for our mate.
Let me tell you something, girl. That's it. No, it's that is it. Okay, because you
men and women, they would think the woman has to heal. No, men have to heal too. They like to carry it, but it comes out.
And men seem to hurt worse than we do. Like we can kind of go in there, do what we need to do, process through things. Right. And then, jump, go in. Now, we don't always, I'm not saying we always do the right thing, and we may be processing a little too quick, but we can fall in love again. I don't think men, I think it's a little hard.
I mean, so it's fun, like, man, like, Deisha, we done sat in the office and talked, especially as Black men, like, you're raised off of several things. Like, one, you're taught restraint, because restraint is what keeps you from elementary school to corporate America. Restraint is what keeps you in school, keeps you in your job. You can't respond the same way that somebody else, because you've been seen as a threat pretty much since day one. Restraint as it relates to being in the streets, because even if you do exercise restraint, police seem to kill you. But there's so many things that are at you, and then just the taboo thing of showing emotion, especially as a Black male, is still perceived to an extent for you to be weak and vulnerable. My dad was never shamed me for being emotional, or he's always affectionate, always hugged me, gave me a kiss, told me he loved me. So I never had that issue. But when I went through my last situation in my divorce, prior to leading up to that, it had become so toxic for me that, like I told you, I had a panic attack. My daughter finding me, I'm not here. And so that kind of woke me up, and it made me realize, as much as we love being together, like, that's why I said this year for me is about rebuilding her and making sure she's whole individually, because you still have to individually be sound. I can't be good to her if I'm not right. She can't be good to me if I'm not right. We can't be good to Caden, who's 10, if we're not right collectively and individually. So for men, you let that bottle up. And so, I would always tell people, even when we met, I was like, look, I'm 90% good, but there's 10% of me that's still really broken from my last marriage. And so when we got together, I was watching church. We've cried together. And so I started opening up, and she was like, "Nah, you're more than 10%." And so then I had to address really those things that hurt me. Not necessarily just in my last marriage, but through the whole divorce process and even post everything I went through. And the dope thing about us is I trust her, and I'm comfortable to be vulnerable with her, that I just started really, and I'm still addressing certain things. Like we'll have an issue and she'll say, "Hey, I'm not this," and I realize that, and I know she's not my ex, but there's certain things that I still need to get through and push through and get over, or not get over, but just what's the word? Move forward. And I think that's human nature. Like, you bring baggage from past situations, especially trauma. And so that's just some of the things that we work with. Sometimes I struggle with it, or there'll be something that'll trigger it, and it won't have anything to do with her. It'll have everything to do with me. And that just comes through counseling and therapy. She's been my hero. The fact that she, has been through so much and done group therapy, individual therapy. I told her even right now, I'm very open to therapy, but I'm not. When I do therapy, I want it to be us together, because it scares me. The idea of going to therapy by myself right now scares me. So I want to be kind of walked into it, if that makes sense. So I think that's why guys, like, it's hard to admit that you're weak, that you're vulnerable, that you sitting at home crying during the holidays because you're not with your family anymore, even though you know that the relationship is not good for you anymore. You still miss that foundation. And so those things were very hard for me. But at the same token, if I don't go through that, I'm not humbled enough to be able to say, okay, I had to grow. Like, I've never until 3 years ago put all my faith in God. I just didn't. I wasn't, I've always, God has been so good to me. It's like, I didn't even pray for what I wanted. It's like, thank you, God, because I've always been so blessed and favored. But 3 years ago, I had to, in order for me to just survive spiritually and emotionally and physically, I had to just give myself to God. And there's no way I make it through these last 3 years. There's no way I even get to her if I don't. And so, but as a man, it's still hard to accept. And I started talking to other Black men about what they were going through, and then you start to realize you're not alone.
Yeah.
And we started to build a support group of just men. You're like, oh, okay, you in therapy? Okay, you went through this, or you went through that. So now you're not as, even though you're vulnerable, you don't feel as weak anymore. Okay, this is just the process. And that's why, again, going back to the no formula 22 thing, at the end of the day, like, there's never been a formula to our relationship, or to me, any relationship or love. Is truly God's plan. And I think that's where we get caught up. I think that's where we take missteps, and we lose, because I'm not mad at self-help books. We might write a book one day, but at the end of the day, it's like school. You get a textbook, it's there to just maybe provide you some of the fundamentals. But at the end of the day, you're still gonna have to go out to the workforce and hustle and build relationships. And everybody has a different path. Everybody has a different formula. And we kind of want to break the mold of, like, oh, well, at 25 you're supposed to do this, or if you're 40 and gone through 2 marriages, that you're done. Like, no, God has a plan for everybody. So focus on you and let everything work out how it's going to work out. And that's why we're here.
I was going to ask that question and see you're way ahead of me. Good job. Good job.
Yeah.
I think we have a caller. Caller, you're on if you would like to ask a question or make a comment. Caller, are you there?
It's fancy.
Okay. Well, I think it may have been another person just listening in, perhaps. All right. I know we're getting close, but I wanted to ask another question. You were talking about the space that Michelle has created for you, where you can be vulnerable. Talk about that, and how that is important for a man to feel secure within his relationship.
Oh yeah, man, we are the most insecure people in the world. Like, I mean, and it's funny, you alluded to it earlier, like we could cheat all day and you expect, your girlfriend or wife, whatever, to forgive you. But boy, let your girlfriend or wife do the same thing, or just not even do the same thing, but just be into it. It's Lord have mercy. So like we are the most insecure people in the world. It's just masked by all types of testosterone and other crap or what have you. But again, the space that she's created is a space we've had since we were kids. And I say kids because we weren't even 21 yet. I was turning 21. She wasn't. She was 20 or 19. And so that's kind of what it's funny. Like the way we interact, the way she gets on my nerves, the way I get on her nerves. It's the same stuff we did when we were in college. It's dope. It's like I feel like I haven't grown up in a sense. And I told her I was like, you sure you want to do this for the rest of your life? Because I'm just silly. Like my daddy is silly. He's 72. Like I was like, I'm just silly, but I've always been this way with her. Like we talk a lot of crap, a lot of ish to each other. Like we just enjoy going back and forth. Like it's just like she's my best friend. She's my homie. And so that space has just always been there, and it's the greatest thing because it breeds confidence. Mm-hmm. It breeds happiness. Like I haven't slept this good probably in 5-6 years. Everything I do is more purposeful. I've been so much more efficient professionally because of us being together. Because now, again, I move with intent. And the thing is, I'm not saying you have to have somebody that's just like you. I do believe the opposites attract thing is, from a scientific vantage point, is true. But I don't think when it comes to love, that's not necessarily true. Again, there is no formula. So we are so much alike. One of the things that turns me on about her, she's a worker. Like I'm a worker, you're a worker. Like we surround ourselves with people that work, that hustle, that build, that have that entrepreneurial spirit. So, and I took this from somebody else, but we literally have meetings in the house every week, twice a week on our calendar about what we need to do professionally and personally. Like we run I say marriage, we run it like it's a business. Because it is a business, it's a partnership. So I need to make sure that I need to go through my checklist, because it might be that one day where something's off in our relationship, and so I need to fix it, or vice versa. So we have meetings like, and it's usually quick, like, are we good? Or sometimes she'll be tripping and be like, no, we not good. And I'll be like, what? Man, we are perfect. Then we go into it.
Just a quick interrupt, right? Not perfect, but that's okay. No. We have those check-ins where we kind of a little bit more detailed than what he's saying. Look, so how are we doing on communication? Mm-hmm. How are we doing on listening? How are we doing on accountability?
And we grade each other.
Right. We give each other grades, and we can explain what that grade means. Mm-hmm. But it gives us a perspective of what the other person is thinking and feeling in more of a real-time moment, and we can check ourselves on that. So I really enjoy that exercise where we check each other with the things that are important for us individually as we are in this relationship.
That's good stuff.
Yeah. And it's cool. It's just cool to have that person that moves how you move but still moves differently. Like I joke with her, I'm like, you're the beauty, I'm the beast. Like she's so dope, she's so fabulous. She's a doctor, PhD, all that stuff. I'm just regular Aaron. But
there's nothing regular about this man. Okay.
I tell her, like, I feel like I don't know if I deserve her or not, but I mean it's never about deserves, because we get things in life that we don't deserve, that are bad or challenging, and then we get things in life that are positive that we don't deserve as well. So I feel like people have been praying so hard for me my whole life, and I'm just receiving favor because of that. And so it's not about whether you deserve it or not. It's like what you do when you get it, right? And so you just mature. Like I said, I don't think to do that unless I have these failures. And that's what I want everybody to understand. Like it's like in business and entrepreneurship, like I fail all the time, and I'm okay with that. But when we fell in love, because it hurts, it's like, this is over. We start building those walls around us, and that's cool. Like, listen, smarten up. Everybody is not going to be worth being in your space, because your space is valuable. But you'll know when that person comes. And then sometimes you still have to let people in your space because you're gonna have to continue to get hurt or disappointed a little bit to figure out what you don't like and what you don't want. And that comes back to the selling part. It's like some people say, well, I need a man to have $150,000. Like, I'm not talking about that. Like, if you wait for that man to have 200,000, you'll find that man that got 200,000. He might be the most promiscuous man on the planet. Right. But when I say settling, like, if that person does not move your spirit every day, if you don't have that connection with God with that person, I don't think you could build that connection. I think the connection has to be there. Then you work to sustain it. If you don't have that, then why settle? Because you're wasting your time, and you could take that time to build you. So
before we get ready to close out, I knew we needed 3 hours, but whatever. Before we get ready to close, you guys, I know we touched on what no formula is about, but we had a question that came in that asked, what is the significance of the 22?
The 22 years that we've known each other, like this would be our 22-year anniversary of friendship. Like I said, we met in October 1998, which was 22 years ago. And so in my mind, like, well, next year will be 23 and so forth. But this is just such a pivotal, like 2020 has just been pivotal on so many levels. And like, we have been very fortunate that even through all the things that we've both been through, and we've really helped rebuild and support each other. Like, the beginning of the year was rough for me going into the first quarter, so many changes. And then all of a sudden, we reconnect, and it's like, all right, everything's going to be okay. When I needed help, I didn't want to take it from her, but she's always, again, she's like, I'm going to make sure you're straight. I'm going to take care of you. I don't care what's going on. It's cool that now we're in a situation where we're unimpeded. Like, I was for me, I was single. I mean, I had situations going on, but when she came back, they just dropped, and she knew it.
I'm strong, girl.
Let me say this. Let me say this. So I was committed I was like, look, we're just gonna build our friendship. And I knew, like, as soon as the first day she came back, like, came over and we talked about life. Like, we spent hours just talking about life. And I have a picture of her on my refrigerator. She's the only picture of a girl I took when I was in college in my room, and she's doing homework. And I tell her, I was like, I think I told you I was gonna marry you, and you gave that little smirk. But it's a picture of my refrigerator of her when she was 19. And but I understood when we came back together, it was like, let's just continue to build our friendship, because you need to rebuild yourself. And she would always say, I don't want any expectations. I was like, all right, cool. But this year, I knew in my heart, I was like, I knew I want to marry this woman. And I said I was never getting married again. I done failed twice, but some failure sometimes learning. And I knew when she came back, I was like, oh, this is the woman I want to marry. Probably should have married her a long time ago, but it wouldn't have worked because I wouldn't have been matured enough. This is the woman I want to spend the rest of my life with and give everything that I've learned, all this knowledge and all this failure that I've learned, so I can turn it and flip it into success. And that's what 22 years represents. Like, we were kids. We're not kids anymore, but I still feel like a big kid when I'm with her. And, we're just going to keep pushing, God willing. And, the other thing, too, is if she doesn't grow at all anymore, I'm still here for her. And I think that's one thing that people need to understand, that I didn't understand. Probably my exes didn't understand. Like, a lot of times we enter relationships and we like, you know what? I need that person to grow into this. Nah, you better accept that person for who they are. And if you guys grow, then that's cool. But if you can't love that person for who they are, then it's never going to work, because you're putting expectations on a situation that may not be feasible to begin with. And so, like, we have grown, we're still growing. We're growing a business together. But I was like, if Michelle just remains HR manager at her institution, doctor, whatever, then I'm cool with that. Because she's a phenomenal mom, she's a phenomenal human being, and I'm okay with that. And the same with me. Like, if she, I told her, like, look, if I don't change, if you okay with me being wholesome and pure and sweet and innocent, and I remain that way, then that's what it is. So I just think that's important for people to understand. Like, you can't change anybody. Like, my pastor years ago said that it wasn't somebody else that changed you, it was the fact that you wanted to make a change.
I think something else that's important too is, we've known each other for this long. We've gone through experiences, we've grown. And I think what was important for me was for us to get to know each other with who we are now, and not just who we knew each other to be or thought each other to be. And in relationships, people will grow individually, they'll grow together, and then they'll grow apart. So it's just really where you are. Like Aaron says, can you love the person where they are? Are they willing to grow? Some people are not willing to grow. And you have to make a decision. Is that something that I'm able to deal with? Right. My last relationship, I was growing and he wasn't. And I couldn't deal with that anymore. And I was no longer going to settle in a situation that was not conducive to my growth and my spirit. And I made the decision to end that. And that was the right decision for me. You know, I enjoy getting to know who Aaron is now at almost 43 years old.
Yes.
Not the same person he was in 2012, 2008.
I hope so. I hope.
Yeah, we're gonna know, right? We're gonna have a different conversation. And I'll be showing up by myself.
It would have been a lot different. So thank God. Bless the Lord.
I've always been mature, you know.
Not really, but I'm glad he is who he is now. I can laugh at him in the past, but I can definitely see the maturity, and you know that's great. So,
well, I just want to say, you know, that you guys are absolutely an inspiration for me. I'm going to talk about me. I'm sure you are for a lot of people, but to see the transition, you know, the time that we've known, or I've known Aaron, and you know, just to see the this and that and things of that such, you know, and then get to see this part of him. And when you have a friend and you know you love that friend and you want the best for that friend, and you may see different things and you're like, and then they finally it snaps and they finally get it. It does something for your spirit to be able to not only see that, but see them functioning like in love. You know what I mean? Like really experiencing it, besides saying, yeah, I love you, girl. Oh, you know, I love you too. You know, that kind of thing. But really experiencing it. And we had a long conversation, which we were talking about, of service, of it, not only you guys loving each other, you know, building a home together, everything that you're going to do in this lifetime, but also being able to serve. Like that's the biggest thing out of all of it, because you could easily keep all of this love to yourself. You can hold it in and just be like, oh honey, we living our life, yes, blah blah blah, whatever. But you all made a conscious effort to form No Formula 22 to not only bless yourselves, but to bless others. Right. And because of that, you know, I mean, I can see all kinds of amazing things that's going to come forth out of this, because we need to see an example of this. You know, we need to see that, okay, this is where you were. And it's so we didn't even touch on the insides and the details of you guys' lives, right. You know, so we got to have a part 2, part 3. That's fine. But, you know, just to be able to see as I was telling Aaron, it means something to be able to see the end result, the other side, you know, because you have these different things that happen between each other. And then, you know, yeah, we came back together. We love it. Okay, this happened. Yeah, we came back together and this and that. But when you're truly meant to be and you see that and you see that result, oh, honey, it does something for your spirit. And it makes you like, okay, I'm going to hold on to this. Okay, yeah. I'm going to go ahead and just, you know, navigate through this love thing. So I want to say, keep doing the doggone thing. I'm so happy and proud of y'all. I'm going to buy my dress for the wedding. I don't know when it is, but I'm buying it. And I'm going to look amazing. And if I ain't picked up nobody, I'm going to pick up somebody at y'all wedding.
Good job.
Wow.
But tell the viewers, I know we don't went way over time, but tell the viewers how we can follow you, all your good stuff, and what you have coming, and all that great thing, all those great things.
Just at No Formula 22, and you know, we're building out a podcast now. Like we're building out this room into our podcast room, which will hopefully launch in December. And you know, again, the whole goal is just to inspire, educate, and entertain, and to your point, really share the nuts and bolts of our story, in particular how, you know, she's turned, you know, her pain into passion and purpose, and And even mine, you know, in my opinion, mine doesn't even compare to what she's been through. But then, you know, just as a man, how I'm here to support her. Like, I don't mind taking the back seat to her. You know, like I tell her, like, if she has a speaking engagement, I'm carrying her bags. Like, you know, I'm powdering the nose. Like, baby, what you need? Like, I'm taking pictures. Like, whatever you need. And the same, I had a photo shoot 2 weeks ago, and she's styling me and whatever. And so it's just to show people that it's possible, because so many of us, especially when we get older, give up on love. And you know, don't worry about your journey. It will happen. Just focus on you and don't settle. And that's it.
Love it. Michelle, you got some last words?
I think it's important for people to, as I mentioned earlier, be intentional with what you want to do. It's good to have a plan. It's good to say, this is what I want, and here's the steps I'm going to, you know, take to get to that. Individually, in a relationship, for a relationship. Be purposeful as well too. I think we need to work with a purpose and be driven by that purpose. So like you said, it's not just us keeping it here, which is all great, you know, but the fact that we know people who are striving for certain things in the area of love, you know, ask us questions, ask for advice. It's like, okay, so what can we do that's bigger and better than just what we have with us, and be purposeful and share our story and share what love looks like for us. You know, we're not going to be the roadmap for everybody, but they can take bits and pieces of it. And if it works for them, and that's better than probably where they were before they encountered who we are, you know. So I'm a person who's always been about helping others. When you look at my career track, it's always been in business, but I'm helping others. So it's always HR. I was a professor. You know, I love to help people in any way that I can do that. And this is so organic, so innate, so natural. It's so easy for me to be able to share this. I don't have to research. I don't have to make up something. You know, and what we can do with No Formula 22 to help others, you know, we're on board for that. So, you know, our Instagram, you know, definitely check us out with that. The podcast that's coming up, it's going to be very entertaining, I'm sure. And, you know, that's a part of it too. You know, that's the fun aspect, you know, and then we'll have serious, you know, conversations as well, because those happen in relationships or as individuals. So the whole gamut that we can give in the lanes of love and purpose is what we're here for.
Awesome. I love y'all.
Love you too. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for coming on my show. This has been amazing, as I've been talking about all week. I knew it was. I told y'all. I told you. So we're gonna have a part 2, 3, 4, 9, 23, just so you know. And we'll let you know. But thank you guys so much for coming on the show. It was absolutely amazing. And as you guys know, I'll be here next Saturday, same place, same time, 12 noon to 1 p.m. Have your cupcakes and your coffee ready.
Nice.
Bye. Have a great one.
Thank you.
See you later.